The entire set 9.5 has been leaked, thanks to our beautiful friends in China. We love China. They have all my heart and 50% of my power. That is not what we're talking about in today's video. We're not talking about the full leaks. We are just going to talk about the item rework. They reworked the entire item system, and due to the leaks, Mortdog has addressed it, so that's what we're going to be talking about. I filmed a video earlier today discussing all of the new items. So if you guys would like to just see that, new base items, new core items, then check out that video. The information there is still very accurate, and we'll go over the items in depth there. That is not what we're doing in this video. We're not going super in depth on the items in this video. We're just going to be talking about the rework to the entire item system, which is very, very relevant and very cool. We'll be talking about the full leaks of all the synergies, all the champs. We're going to do that in a separate video that I'm filming right after this one. So make sure and check that out. It'll be up shortly after this one is up. So it probably is up by the time we're watching the video. But let's get into it. So here's Mortdog. 1 out of 10 item system update for Rise and Bound. In order to make TFT's item system more intuitive for players in the long run, we decided to make a big change to how items are structured. Now there are 4 types of items with consistent rules for how they work. Let's talk about them. And then he just shows Zeke's Herald as a picture here because it is what is called a support item, which we'll get back to because all of the support items, all the aura items, all the aura based items have been removed from the core item set and have been replaced with new items. Again, check out the other video to learn more about that. And the new items add a lot of flexibility to the game. And I'm really, really, really excited about the new core items and that these support items are no longer you can get them every single game. I'm really excited about that. So let's just get into this. So core items, the core items built from components. These are the ones you can craft. These are used to put on a champion to make them more powerful. What we assume items are like normally. You can always expect core items to make the wearer stronger. For this to be true, we need to make some items. There are 6 new core items. I guess we are going to go through some of the core items here. Oh, it's not going to be called Jack Show. It's going to be called Adaptive Helm. That's called Jack Show, right? In League right now? I'm not sure. But anyways, we have Night Harvester, 15% bonus damage, increased to 30% while below 60% health. So this is going to be really good on like frontline AP carries or AP assassins, that sort of thing. Anyways. Next up, we also use the opportunity to make sure the new core items filled some spaces for champs that need more choices, like AP frontliners or melee bruisers. This should also lead to less awkward item opening combinations, and we talked a lot about this in our other video. Amazing quality of life. This is especially good because you guys all know how it is to start the game with a bow versus starting the game with a cloak. The game is just so much easier to start the game with a bow, right? And so they're trying to address those problems. And here we'll look at Adaptive Helm a little bit here, but combat start, the holder gains bonuses based on their starting position, which is extremely cool. Front 2 rows, this is going to be a tank item, and most tanks are AP based. Think Sejuani, think Shin, think Tarek. I'm not sure all of these are going to be in the new set, but just think about the way tanks normally do their stuff. They scale off of AP usually, with the exception of units like Scion doesn't have good AP scaling, right? He has better AD scaling. But this is going to be majority good on most of the tanks, especially in AP builds. And then back to your rows, 35 ability power and gain 15 mana every 3 seconds. So this is going to be great if you missed blue buff or you missed Sojin and you're playing an AP build. You can build Adaptive Helm, and a lot of times you get this item opener. You can just build this for your front line, and then late game, if you end up playing an AP carry or whatever, and you don't have your Sojin, you don't have your blue buff, you can be like, oh, okay, well, I built this Adaptive Helm for my tank line. I can just transition it to my back line. Let's say you get extra tank items. We've all been there where you get you start the game building a tank item, and this is maybe you built this at the beginning of the game for a tank item, and then you, on your wolves drop, you just get chain, belt, cloak, and you're just where are my carry items? What can I do? You're freaking out, and you have to build a board. Well, now there's more options to build carry items that are flexible as tank items whenever you miss. So this is just going to be amazing quality of life. So Radiant items, these are super powerful versions of all the core items, have the same rules. You can expect that putting a Radiant item on a champion makes them much more powerful. These should be exciting to get and push champions to upper limits. So this is what we've all known as Radiant items. So this will come from augments, certain portals, that sort of thing. Like we already understand, pretty normal. And then next up we have artifacts. These are the Ornn artifacts. So assuming Ornn is still a legend, it'll come from those or Ornn item anvils, as well as I'm sure there'll be some portals that give you Ornn items, that sort of thing, like we already have with Ornn's Forge and that sort of thing. There are These are unique items with interesting outputs. Also, always make the wearer stronger. Anytime you see a red bordered item, its wearer is doing something interesting and powerful. This means like some shimmer skill items are now artifacts. And we talked a little bit about this in our other video, but Mogul's Mail, which we all know about Mogul's Mail. I wonder if it's still going to generate you gold, even though it's an Ornn item. So they're just keeping it the same. So that's pretty cool. So this will now be available as an Ornn artifact. And then Goldmancer's Staff will also be available as an Ornn artifact. There might be more because he's not showing all the items here. He is just showing some of them. There may be more artifacts from these Shimmer Scale items. Grant 1 ability power. This is the Goldmancer staff that we knew and loved from before. Okay, next up we have the support items. And this is the interesting part, right? Support items. So all of these items are items that have existed in the game except for Aegis. Like there's some new items, but these items are no longer craftable, which is very cool. And we explained why that's very cool in the other video, but a new type of item that do not make the wearer stronger, does not make the wearer stronger, but instead powers up the team in a unique way, complete with a new border. These items mean the team is doing something interesting. Some familiars here, but also some new items to try. So we have ZZ Rot Portal, summon a large Void Spawn that taunts enemies nearby. This is a support item, no longer craftable. Shroud of Stillness, combat, shoot a beam that 30% mana reaves. Your whole team gains 100 health. So it's like the Radiant, it's almost like the Radiant version. The 100 health part is like the Radiant version, but not this part. The Radiant version is like 60% or something like that. So yeah, there we have Shroud of Stillness. I hope Zephyr is just full stop not in the game. But he doesn't mention that right now. But Aegis is a new item. This is from League, Combat Star, empower all allies in the columns, not rows, columns behind the holder, granting 30% attack speed and 20 armor and magic resist for 10 seconds. It's weird that it says columns. So I wonder if it's gonna be like 3 columns, right? I don't know. We'll see how that works out. Anyways, those are support items. They are not craftable. They are something that you can get from augments and that sort of thing. So support items that come from various sources like augments, portals, rewards, and more, usually given through an armory. So you can pick the right one for your team. There's some pretty cool new ways to get them. Such a unique prismatic augment sanctuary. Support 3, what gain a training dummy? It has 3 random support items equipped to it. Items cannot be removed. Interesting layer there. And so I'll give my take a little bit on why they remove why they move support items to this. Support items have been so unhealthy for the game for a long time. I like support items. I think they're cool. I think they're interesting. But just guys, just think about it. Just think about all these support items. Locket, Zeke's, Ice Cream Cone, and ZZ Rot. They're either broken or useless most of the time, or they're very strange. Like they had to change Chalice this year, this set, to where it's easier to slam, and it just became a de facto frontline item. Like you don't even build it for Chalice stacking. You just put a Chalice on Sejuani so she casts earlier and gains the magic resist, because the magic resist is super good. Like those items are weird. They're either broken or not. Think about that Swain build. I forget which set this was. I think this was his Dragon set, maybe set 7, where that Swain build where you would have Protector's Vows go to everybody, and that used to be an aura item, not anymore. Or you do the Zeke stacking, or you do the ZZ Rot stacking. You know, think about Bastions earlier this set. You stack Lockets. It was broken. They had to nerf the Locket into the ground. These items are just a problem. They're either broken or they suck. And then also getting these items at the end of the game, like getting these items like you're on your last, like you have to slam something and you have to slam a Locket. Like, bro, that feels so awful. Like you have to slam a Locket and somebody else gets a Rage Blade and you're just like, okay, I guess. Somebody else gets a Warmogs, you get a Locket, and you're okay, I guess. Like it just feels really bad. So that's why they're changing this. Should lower the variance quite a bit. And with the removal of these items, the support items as no longer core items, all the core items are very much more flexible items. We talked about this a lot in our other video, but they made AP itemization especially a lot more flexible, and then added an AD item that does that sunders the front line or shreds their armor. I know a lot of people didn't use the word sunder. I don't use the word sunder normally, but it sunders their armor. Similar to the way that Spark does. So they added a Spark equivalent for AD comps, making it not feel so bad when you don't have a Last Whisper and when you're in metas like the current meta we have, where Bastions and Demasias are meta. And he talks a little bit about this here, so that just segues into the next point here. We're also doing a big pass to make sure item balance is at its best ever. Poggers. The biggest impact from this is that Shred and Sunder felt too mandatory. Facts. They've always felt mandatory, honestly. So across the board, they're being lowered. And if they're being lowered, that lowers the overall need in the game, because like when you don't have it, you won't feel that it's gone. You're still going to need it. If there's like bastions in the game, like you're still going to want it. But at least like the variance between having it and not having it will be a lot, the variance will be a lot smaller. And they'll be able to balance those resist units easier because the variance will be much lower. Whereas where they have to balance like resist units like bastions around the fact that people will have last whispers and stuff like that, and how impactful that is. So it creates really lopsided scenarios when you verse somebody who is a bastion comp and you don't have the appropriate shred for your comp. It just feels really bad, because if those bastions were balanced to be able to fight against units that don't need the shred, then they would suck. They would be useless. So they have to be strong, and it's just it's terrible. So they're addressing this problem right here. So last whisper is getting reduced to 30%. I believe it's 50% right now. It might be 40%. I think it is 50% right now. It goes down. That changes a lot. And then it's equivalent across the board. Ionic Spark. And then Ebon Shroud right here is also going to Sunder, which reduces armor right there. Very cool. That's a new item as well. Okay, and then 9 out of 10 right here. We're almost at the end. All of this should lead to more understandable item system that is easier to approach while keeping the depth and exciting decision making that adds a ton of skill expression for our most engaged players. We're excited for everyone to get their hands on it. Guys, I am really excited. I think this is good. Random's Omen being moved to a support item, no longer an Ornn item. So they are going to remove some Ornn artifacts and moving them around. That makes sense because they're adding more Ornn artifacts. And then the last up, major thanks to everyone who worked on these, especially Riot Truxie, who took the lead on this project. Let us know what you think of them on PvE next week. And I will be playing PvE next week, guys. Hey, follow me on Twitch if you want to play with me. I don't get a lot of viewers on Twitch. I get like nobody. I have some real ones. Respect to my real ones. Shout out to my real ones. But dude, nobody watches me on Twitch, man. So please come over there. We have a good time. I play the best music and I play with viewers on PvE. So come follow me if you want to play with me and have a good time. We have a good time. So anyways, so yeah, I will be playing PvE next week. Make sure you follow me. It's gonna be a good time. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. We will be covering the rest of the leaks and updates later on today and tomorrow. And hey, I think there's some gameplay we can watch. We might watch that on stream tomorrow if I can find this gameplay. I think there is some, but that's it. I'll see you on the next one.